My name is Peter Joseph. I'm the founder of a social sustainability organization called the Zايtجايست movement, which in form has about 1,000 chapters across 70 countries, and basically we're all working together to try to bridge some differences about economic problems that are working its way across the world: social destabilization, unemployment, debt crisis, environmental destabilization. And this community is attempting to bring new sustainable ideas to the forefront to revolutionize economy as we know it, hence revolutionize human values as we know it, so we can try to create a new way of life. You know, it's a grassroots movement with that basic premise.
This movement is essentially a social movement. It's easier to describe what it isn't really. It's not a political movement. We don't really recognize politics as a viable option in addressing the issues that we talk about. It's a voluntary social movement really, a grassroots social movement that centers on actual sustainability. We need a society that functions on a physical level, that actually has advanced, intelligent, automated to the most degree that you can systems to enable efficient transport, efficient energy usage, efficient land usage. Part of our understandings are that we need sustainable city systems, very much like those spoken about in the Venus Project or by Buckminster Fuller or many other futuristic city plans. So that's sort of the first level, is we understand that Earth is a finite resource. Earth is actually entirely a resource. We think about wave and wind and time. It's in fact one thing. This is the resource we're on. This is the rock that we're on that's hurtling through space. And we need to live on it. We need to continue to live on it. And as well as possible.
Why do I like the Zايtجايست movement? Why do I advocate for the Zايtجايst movement? It's very simple. I love this.
What we currently refer to as capitalism under various guises around the world, suggested in various doses and concoctions in the prescriptive manuals of political philosophy and economic texts, the monetary-based price system as a means of coordinating and organizing so-called economic activity of consumers, producers, and owners of resources is ultimately unsustainable. The reason for this is that it's essentially predicated upon linear consumption, and you cannot run a linear system on a finite planet.
Join the Zايtجايst movement. It is exciting. The people that you meet are fantastic. They think like you, and we're out to make a difference on something that really matters.
It was whatever you needed to do to get money. And what's happened now with the value system disorder is that since that's the pursuit, that's the divine drive of the system, that's what status is defined by, that's what your success is defined by, that everyone can blindly look the other way with how much destruction is occurring in the world.
And when I look at our species, I just see one that's divided. We're so in our infancy, we're having to learn the most basic lessons in the 21st century, you know, and the Zايtجاist movement and a resource-based economy doesn't go like that. It advocates that the Earth is the common heritage of everyone to share. And not for us all just to dive in and take what we want, but for us to intelligently manage the planets.
The monetary system has come to an end. It was very useful for a while. I've not been anti-money in all of history. It's changed its usage in history. You can't be blanket anti-money and still understand the history of money. But we've obviously come to the end of that paradigm now, because now it isn't serving us anymore. And that was the goal to begin with. It was to ensure that there was enough labor, so there are enough resources, so that we have the system, so that people are okay.
The Zايtجايst movement, from my perspective, it's all about quality, it's all about preserving our planet, and it's all about thriving on human creativity and innovation.
In fact, the truth is this entire system of cyclical consumption that we have in this country is the cause of all of our problems.
Zايtجاist addendum was mind-boggling. Dots began to connect.
Now is that time to move to that next level.
I advocate the Zايtجاist movement, the Venus Project, and the resource-based economies because they represent the only viable alternatives to the corrupt and unsustainable system that we have today.
People aren't following this because Jacques Fresco is their version of Jesus or because Peter Joseph is a good public speaker. They have looked at it and decided that it makes sense to them.
Basically trying to get people from around the world to discuss why, in a very concise manner, they advocate the Zايtجاist movement, the Venus Project, and of course a resource-based economy.
The Zايtجaist movement.
Why I advocate
I think the Zايtجaist is
Today, around the world, many people often say, I wish we could live like Americans. I know you've heard this before. Well, no. Conspicuous consumption patterns of the American culture should be despised by all other countries on this planet. We have 5% of the population and we consume 30% of the world's resources. It's insane. In a resource-based economy where we base our production and distribution on physical references, starting with the carrying capacity of the earth, where we streamline our labor expression towards things that have a long-term social return, when we get rid of the cancer known as the financial system and start to share our resources in a diligent way, working together, avoiding the false values of materialism and consumption pushed upon our culture, we find that we can provide a high quality of life for everyone on this planet while eliminating all of the central reasons for war, poverty, destitution, violence, criminal behavior, neuroses. It would be the dawn of a world we could actually label a civilization. And if that isn't a goal worth working towards, I don't know what is.
The future rests in our hands, yours and mine. It rests in the capacity which we totally have as a species to make radical shifts when our survival is necessary. And maybe we are the people who will emerge to create an alternative that enables our species to survive in peace on the planet. Otherwise, we will not survive.